Hello, I have created this video to take you through the nominalisation exercise. You've received this sheet in class, and this is just an opportunity to go through it in a little bit more detail and take it a step at a time. As a starting point, I just want to remind you there's two parts to this sheet. The first 2 pages are the steps that you need to do. So if you're not sure, you can always come back to the first 2 pages. So here's step A, here's the first thing to do, and there's an example of what that might look like. And I'm going to talk you through that in this video as well. And then once you've finished that section, then you can move on to the next section. The other 2 pages here is where I want you to show me your understanding. So the first page here links to step A and step B on the first page, and the second page here relates to the other 2 steps. Now, as mentioned, I've given you a hard copy of this, but you can certainly do it digitally, and I'll give you some tips in the video of how to do it. If you find that you're having to go up and down a lot, using your paper copy next to your laptop could be really useful. So the first thing you need to do is match the highlighted verbs in the sentences to the nominalised version on the second half of the page. So I'm just scrolling down past the instructions to the first page. So what I've got here are the 6 sentences that I want you to nominalise, and in each sentence I've highlighted what the verb is. Now you can see this in the example, but I'll take you through a little bit more closely. So the word took is a verb. It's something you can do, or you can take something. What we're looking at is trying to match that with the nominalised version here. Okay, so we can see down here the taking of, the punching of, the sweetening of, the viewing of. We get this sense that it's probably taking in this case. Now, one thing you might choose to do, if you're using your paper copy, you could circle this and then put an arrow down here so that you could remember. If you're using a digital copy, what you could do is like a text coloring thing. So you could say, for this one here, I'm going to make it green, and for this one here, I'm going to make it green, so I can remember that those 2 are the same. The first thing you need to do is to match up all of the verbs to the noun versions down here. Okay, so you can go through one at a time, or you might just look for the ones that seem like the easiest to match up. Okay, there's 12 different verbs listed here, and there's 12 different noun versions down here, so you should be able to link them up. Once you find another one, so here is punched, I might use a different color for this one just to help me remember. So I'm going to say blue for punched, and if I go down here, I can see it's the punching of. Okay. So I've gone back to the instruction page, and we've actually now, if you've linked those 12 things together, we've completed step A. Now we're going on to step B. So what you need to do here is think about what type of object the action refers to. So in this example, you can see he took. Now, what is it that he took? He took her book. Right, so that's the thing that was taken. And we're going to take that and put it down with the nominalised version, with the noun version. So I'm now scrolling down to the worksheet. All right, and we can see in this case, one's already been done for us. So he took, what did he take? Her book. This is green, so I can look down and say, I've already color coded where this needs to go. So once I know what the action refers to, I can paste that down here. He took her book. Okay, let's do another one together and see how we go. So she punched him in the arm. Well, that's not a great way to deal with the problem, but in this case, what was it that was punched? Him in the arm, or it was his arm, I guess, that was sort of punched, wasn't it? So what I'm going to do here is I can see that I've highlighted this one blue. I'm going to come down to the blue one here, and I'm just going to type his arm, because that's the thing that the action refers to, the punching of his arm. Hopefully, I can now move through the rest of the sentences and find the thing that the action refers to, and I want to bring down that thing. So by the end of step 2, I should have the thing at the end of each of these 12 actions. I've scrolled back up to the instructions. We've now completed step A and step B, so we're looking at step C. For this one, we're going to put the 2 things that are related together, and what we have to think about here is which action was the cause and which was the effect. You can see this example here. Because the book was taken, she punched him in the arm. So if he hadn't taken the book, if the cause hadn't happened, then the effect wouldn't have happened. The cause wasn't that his arm got punched, because if that happened, there would be no reason. So we're thinking about the cause and the effect, and this is the key skill that we're unpacking by doing this, is showing the clarity between communication by showing the relationship between the different actions. So I've given you one example of what the final product is going to look like. As I scroll back up to the previous page, I should have all of these sections now filled in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and match up the things that are related in the sentence. Now I need to do a little bit of scrolling up and down to see this. So I can see after viewing the evidence, the jury made their decision. So I have to find the noun version of viewing. So if I go down here, I can have a look at my list. The sweetening of, no, I don't think it's that. The viewing of, great. Now I should already have that matched up with the color that I had up the top here, or if you've scribbled on it or used a line to point to it, whatever system you've used. And I should also have the thing that's being viewed, and there's a hint here that it's the evidence. So I should have here the viewing of the evidence. I now have to go down and think about which other part of the sentence is here. You'll notice I've deliberately jumbled them up just to make it a little bit trickier. If I scroll down, I can see that there's one here, the making of, and if I go back up, I can see the jury made their decision. So what I should have written here is the viewing of the evidence, the making of the decision. So if I now go to the page that I'm working on for step C, I can say that the cause was probably the viewing of the evidence. It's probably not the other way around. That's usually how court cases work. Someone might look at the evidence, and after they look at the evidence, they make a decision. So the cause would be the viewing of the evidence. I can type that in here now. And the effect, I'm just using tab to jump across here, is the making of the decision, okay? So much of this is just about matching together information within the sentence and reconstructing it to make it clearer. Now, if I've done this for each of the other sentences, then I've completed step C. I've scrolled back up to step D, which is the final part of this activity. And what we're looking to do here is link together the cause and the effect with what we call an is substitute. We've talked about this a little bit in class. This is the last part, and you might have already started doing this in step C, which is perfectly fine. I've scrolled back to the second page of the worksheet, and what you can see here is the viewing of the evidence, the making of the decision. So what I want to do now is pick something from my list down here and put it in the middle, and I want it to make sense. I guess that's the most important thing. So there's a little bit of opportunity for me to see which one fits best in this case. So my first option is the word caused. So I could say the viewing of the evidence caused the making of the decision. That sounds okay. I could say the viewing of the evidence resulted in, just like I did before, the making of the decision. That maybe sounds a little bit better, but it's up to you. And I could also say the viewing of the evidence led to the making of the decision. And both of those are really similar, and it goes to show how you can use similar language to achieve the same effect. I can also change the way the sentence reads by changing the tense of that word. I could say the viewing of the evidence results in the making of the decision. But that might not sound quite as clear, because when I say the viewing of the evidence, we get the sense that that has already happened. Or particularly when we look at the original sentence, we get the sense that this has already happened. So I'm probably best suited to work in past tense in this case. But have a bit of a look at each sentence and think about which of these columns best suits connecting those two actions together. Hopefully this guide has given you some instruction about how you can complete this task. Remember, it's okay to make mistakes or not have it perfect, and that just gives me the best opportunity to figure out where to go next. I'm really looking forward to seeing how you go when you submit the work to me, so that I can see how well you're understanding what's happening in class.